Have you ever wondered why today's generation seems to struggle more than those of the past? Let's take a moment to dive deep into this thought-provoking question. The world has always been a challenging place, but for the current generation, there are unique trials that seem to amplify the struggle. For starters, economic instability looms large. Unlike the steady rise in prosperity witnessed in the past, today's youth face uncertain economic futures. Jobs that were once considered secure are now being replaced by automation or outsourced to other countries. Many are left grappling with student loans, underemployment, and the prospect of a retirement that may never come. Then, there's the daunting specter of climate change. The Earth is heating up, sea levels are rising, and extreme weather events are becoming more frequent. This generation is tasked with the monumental challenge of reversing the environmental damage and creating sustainable solutions for the future. Mental health is another area of concern. It's becoming increasingly clear that mental health issues are pervasive among young people. Anxiety, depression, and other mental health disorders are on the rise, often exacerbated by the pressures and uncertainties of modern life. Lastly, we can't discuss the struggles of this generation without mentioning the impact of social media. While it has its benefits, social media has also created a culture of comparison, where everyone's life is on display. It's a world where likes, shares, and followers are seen as measures of worth, leading to feelings of inadequacy and isolation. These are just a few of the hurdles faced by the current generation. They are navigating a world that is vastly different from that of their predecessors. They are dealing with issues that were virtually non-existent a few decades ago. So as we reflect on the struggles of this generation, it's vital to remember that these are not just youthful complaints or signs of an entitled generation. These are real, tangible challenges that require understanding, empathy, and collective action. Indeed, the current generation faces a unique set of challenges that were unheard of in the past. To fully understand the struggles of the current generation, we need to take a look back at the challenges faced by previous generations. Once upon a time, in a world not too far removed from our own, the struggles were different, but just as real. The early part of the 20th century was marked by two of the most catastrophic conflicts the world has ever seen, the First and Second World Wars. These wars brought unimaginable devastation, loss of human life, and economic hardship. Families were torn apart, societies were left in ruins, and the survivors were left to pick up the pieces. Then came the Reconstruction era, where the task was not just rebuilding infrastructure, but also healing the psychological and social wounds inflicted by the wars. This was an era of resilience and fortitude, where people had no choice but to rise from the ashes and forge ahead. But the struggles were not limited to the aftermath of wars. The lack of technology, something we take for granted today, was a significant challenge. Communication was slow and inefficient, medical treatments were rudimentary, and access to information was limited. Imagine a world where you couldn't Google your symptoms or video call a doctor. That's the world our predecessors lived in. And let's not forget about the limited opportunities for education and employment. For many, education was a luxury, not a given. Without the internet or even extensive libraries, self-education was a challenge. Employment opportunities were also limited, with fewer industries and less mobility. It was a time when people often spent their entire lives in the same job or even in the same town. However, despite these struggles, previous generations found ways to persevere and thrive. They built the foundations of the world we live in today, creating the infrastructures, institutions, and technologies that we often take for granted. It's evident that while the nature of struggles has evolved over time, each generation had its own battles to fight. But by acknowledging and learning from these past struggles, we can better understand our own challenges and find ways to overcome them. Now, armed with an understanding of the struggles of both the current and previous generations, it's time to draw some comparisons. Let's first take a look at societal changes. In previous generations, societal struggles were often centered around civil rights, gender equality, and cultural acceptance. Today, while these issues are still very much present, the focus has shifted. Our generation grapples with mental health awareness, climate change, and the fight for LGBTQ+ rights. Now, let's consider the role of technology. Previous generations lived through the birth of the internet, the rise of personal computing, and the start of the digital age. These developments brought their own challenges, such as adapting to new ways of working and the onset of digital privacy concerns. Today's generation, on the other hand, was born into this digital era. We face the struggle of navigating social media pressures, cybersecurity threats, and the impact of artificial intelligence on job security. In terms of economic struggles, previous generations wrestled with recessions, oil crises, and housing market crashes. They faced the challenge of maintaining financial stability amidst fluctuating economies. Today's generation is dealing with the aftermath of the Great Recession, skyrocketing student loan debt, and the uncertainty of job markets in the gig economy. However, it's important to note that these struggles are not isolated to their respective generations. They are cumulative, each one building upon the last, influencing and shaping the next. The struggles of previous generations have paved the way for the battles we fight today, and the struggles of today will undoubtedly shape the challenges of tomorrow's generation. Notably, each generation's struggles are shaped by the context of their time, but they all share a common goal: to create a better world for the next generation. Thus, while the struggles may change, the human spirit that fights to overcome them remains constant. While it's easy to draw a line between the past and present, it's clear that each generation's struggles are both unique and interconnected. Knowing the struggles of the current generation, what can we do to overcome them? In the face of mounting pressures and unique challenges, it's clear that the current generation must find ways to navigate through the storm. But as daunting as these struggles may seem, they are not insurmountable. There are tangible solutions that can help us rise above. One of the most significant struggles we face today is mental health. The solution? Better mental health resources. We need to create environments where mental health is not stigmatized but understood and supported. This might mean more accessible counseling services, increased mental health education in schools, or even apps that provide resources and techniques for managing stress and anxiety. Next, let's talk about the environment. The Earth is our home, and yet we've been treating it like a disposable commodity. This is a struggle we can't afford to ignore, but the solution is in our hands. By adopting sustainable practices in our daily lives, we can help to reduce our environmental footprint. This could be as simple as reducing, reusing, and recycling, or as complex as investing in renewable energy sources and green technology. Lastly, in an increasingly digital world, digital literacy is no longer a luxury but a necessity. The internet has become a fundamental part of our lives, and those who cannot navigate it are at a disadvantage. The solution? Comprehensive digital literacy programs. By educating people on how to use technology effectively and safely, we can bridge the digital divide and ensure that everyone has equal access to the opportunities the digital world offers. The struggles of the current generation are many, but they are not insurmountable. It will take effort, it will take time, and it will take a collective commitment to change. But remember, every great journey begins with a single step. The struggle is real, but so is the potential for change. Today, we delved into the struggles of the current generation and compared them with those of the past. We explored how the trials and tribulations of today's generation, from the pressures of social media to the economic instability, differ from the challenges faced by previous generations. We recognize that while some of these struggles might seem unique to our times, many echo the experiences of those who came before us. We also highlighted how the struggles of previous generations, whether it was the world wars or the civil rights movement, have shaped the world we live in today. Yet despite these differences, we also found remarkable similarities. In the face of adversity, both the current and previous generations have shown a remarkable ability to adapt and overcome. They've demonstrated resilience, creativity, and an indomitable spirit. These are the qualities that define us as humans, regardless of the era we live in. While each generation